Thank you for sharing that. And there's so much to unpack with your relationship there. But I want to go to the moment you said in 1995 when you left. How challenging was it to leave someone that's mentoring you, that's teaching you all of these things? And then where did you go? Where did you go, and how did you go about that process?
Well, that's a great question, AJ. It's really, these are the moments in your life where you determine the path you're going to take, even though you have no idea where you're going with it. And I guess I was 30 years old. And to just backtrack a bit, right after I got out of college in 1985, NFL Films wasn't hiring, and I got a job at NBA Entertainment, which was a brand new little thing. I mean, I was, I think, the 9th or 10th employee, and now they're, hundreds and hundreds. But Barry Winnick was the sort of guru of the business. He had been a pioneer in sports films in the 60s, and he was the main camera person and sort of the only person at NBA Entertainment that had any experience. And he knew all the guys at NFL Films. And when they offered me the job, he said to me, "Be careful you don't get stuck there, because it's the most comfortable place in the world to work." But I was 22 at the time, and he said, you don't want to stay forever, because you're going to look back and say, "Oh, wow, there are other things I could have done." And I remembered that. And he said I should only stay 3 years. I stayed like 10 years. But Steve had spoken to me about, future plans for the company and my role. And I decided, you know what, if I stay now and take him up on these new roles, I am going to stay forever. And there's got to be more to the world than football, as much as I love it. And it's still the best job I ever had. But I'm very happy I did leave. And I moved back to New York, which was my home. And I had also recently met a girl that I ended up marrying, and I'm very glad about that too. And that was a real push. But I didn't have a job. I just went home to New York, got an apartment in Brooklyn, and I started doing film workshops with at-risk youth in the city. I had met somebody who had an after-school program, an art program for at-risk youth was the term we used then. I'm not sure if that's still a term of art, but kids who had been in some degree of trouble, but were not currently incarcerated or in a group home or anything like that. So I set up a film workshop there, and started, I would work with kids, 15, 16-year-old kids, making short films with them, helping them make short films about themselves as a means of self-esteem building and self-expression. And actually, one of the kids from my very first group, Alistair Christopher, was so talented with the camera that he ended up becoming my DP many years later, and he's shot everything I've done since Through the Fire back in 2005. And LeVar Daisy, who was another amazing, wonderful young man in that group, he works with me as an associate producer to this day. So that was what I did for a few years. And then after a little bit of time, I got the hankering to start making my own films again, and was asked to do the World Series film for the Yankees, or for Major League Baseball, in 1998 when they played the Padres. Their contract with Phoenix Communications, who had been MLB Productions. Their contract ended and they decided to take everything in house, but their contract ended in September and they realized they had a World Series film they had to do. So they called me and it got me back into it. And yeah, I haven't stopped since.